Welcome back to Story Corner, and apologies, I've been getting lazy with these, but I think this is a good one to come back with, and I hope you enjoy it. And I've got a new microphone, so I hope you can hear me too. Now, there was once a boy called Jack, and his mother, and they lived together in Aberdeenshire. Now, Jack was an honest boy. He was a lovely boy. He was even a hard-working boy. But he wasn't really the brightest boy, and most people knew him as Silly Jack. Now, he and his mum, they got on just fine. They lived in their wee cottage together, miles away from everybody else. I mean, they were terribly, terribly poor. But that didn't matter. They had enough to get by, and they were happy. Now, every 6 months, it was time to pay rent to the laird, or more specifically, the laird's factor, because the big man doesn't go traipsing about his estate on his own just to collect a few coins. Well, that day had arrived, but Jack's mother had to go on an errand. So she knew they were always last on the rent list, so she said to Jack, "Now, I might be back before the factor arrives, but if I'm not, you just keep a big fire going in the hearth and tell him I'll no be long." "Aye, aye," says Jack, "no problem, mother. I'll keep the factor warm and comfy." Well, a few hours later, right enough, the factor arrives at the door while the boy's there chopping logs outside. He goes, "Your mother in, Jack?" "Nah." "Well, is she coming back?" "Oh, aye. She says take a seat by the fire and she'll no be long." Well, the factor sits in a big comfy chair in front of a roaring fire, and barely a minute has passed before he falls fast asleep, snoring his head off. Jack is just sitting opposite, watching intently to make sure that the factor is definitely comfortable like he was told. But there's this pesky wee fly buzzing about, and it lands directly on the factor's big baldy head. "Get off the factor's head, fly," says Jack. "Shoo!" Of course, the fly ignores him. So Jack speaks a little louder. "Would you just get off his head, fly? Do you know Ken? That's the factor. He's important." Well, the fly refuses to budge, but Jack has an idea. So he goes outside and he picks up the axe. "Well, if you'll no shift yourself, I'll just have to use some force," and crack. Jack brings down the axe, kills the fly. Of course, he's killed the poor factor as well. And that's the very moment that his mother walks in the door. "My God, Jack, what have you done?" "Don't worry, mother, I took care of a fly. It was bothering our guest," says a very proud Jack. "Oh, Jack, you silly boy, you've killed the factor, and the laird's going to come looking." Now, Jack's mother knew her son was too honest for his own good. He didn't really know what he'd done. It was going to take all the cunning of a good Scotswoman to get them out of this mess. And first things first, she got Jack to help her take the factor's body outside, and they buried him in a shallow grave in the garden. And she just sent him back inside to finish some chores. Well, Jack was busy. His mother made a big pot of porridge, and she climbed a ladder on the side of the cottage, and she called out to her son, "Jack, you're never going to believe it, but it's raining porridge. Stick your head up the chimney, maybe you'll catch some." And of course he rushes to the fireplace, and right enough. I mean, Jack's mother's pouring porridge down the lum and he's lapping it up. The boy must have gone to bed thinking it was one heck of a day. But in the middle of the night, Jack's mother, she goes outside and she digs up the factor's body in secret. And she drags it off into the woods to hide it where nobody will ever look. Of course, she kept his bag full of everybody else's rent for herself. And then in the shallow grave, she buried a freshly slaughtered goat in the factor's place. A few days later, as you would expect, the laird and his men came looking for his servant and that big bag of coin. "Have either of you seen the factor?" he asked in a very serious manner. And Jack pipes up, "Oh, aye, I killed him. Then me and mother buried him in the garden." Well, you can imagine the look on everybody's face before his mother chimes in. "Oh, don't mind Jack. He's a silly boy. We haven't seen the factor. You shouldn't really be interrogating my son anyway. He'll admit to anything that you ask him." But the laird assured her, everybody deserves to be listened to, and it sounds like Jack has something important to say. "I'm telling you, he's just a bit silly. Listen to this. So, Jack, what day was it that you killed the factor then?" "Oh, I remember it well enough, mother. How could I ever forget? That was the day it rained porridge." Well, you could see now the laird and his men, they weren't quite so sure. But he asked the boy to show them where he'd buried the body anyway. And Jack cheerfully brought him round the back, and one of the men began to dig. And as the goat's head appeared, Jack, astonished, shouts out, "By God, mother, the factor's grown horns!" Well, that was enough for the laird. He'd suspected all along. The factor had just ran off with his 6-monthly estate rent all for himself. He apologised profusely, and his men went on their merry way. Well, Jack and his mother had escaped a cruel punishment for the boy's mistake, and to top it all off, they now had a big bag of coins to help them through even the harshest of winter yet to come. Sláinte.